I want to first acknowledge in the room today those electeds that I saw, starting with our Bronx Borough President, Vanessa Gibson, our District Attorney, Darcel Clark, our Public Advocate, Shimani Williams, our Congressman, Congressman Espaillat, I'm not sure if I'm missing one, Congressman Richie Torres is here, our Councilman Yusef Salon, that's here as well, and I apologize if I'm missing any name of any of the electeds here in a unified way. We are here to show our support for this family. And I'm not here as the mayor. I'm here as a parent, as a father. And when I visited Officer Islam's dad yesterday, I could only reflect on the birth of Jordan. I remember being in the delivery room when he came through his mother's birth canal. And when I saw his head for the first time, and the doctor moved to allow and assist in the birth, I moved her hand away, and I touched my son's head, because I wanted to be the first person to touch my son when he entered into life. And I thought about that when I sat on the couch yesterday. That many people don't fully understand. If you have never been a parent, you don't fully understand the relationship between a parent and a child. And throughout my life, of my son's 29 years of life, I only hope that one day he will have the honor to bury me as his dad. Because sons are supposed to bury their dads. Mothers are supposed to be buried by their daughters and their children. There is nothing more tragic than having a parent bury their child. The pain is so immense. It is so intense. And we think about it over and over again just in these 3.5 years as being the mayor. The times I had to attend funerals of the public at large, but specifically law enforcement officers, Detective Dillard, Officer Mora and Rivera, of hearing the cries of their families and loved ones, trying to find words that could properly define how we're feeling the pain of what we've lost. This murder and the murder of others who were in the building, it cut me to my core. Spent my entire life defending and fighting for the innocent people of this city. And each death I take personal, because as the mayor, I am responsible for the safety of New Yorkers. That is my obligation, and that is my most basic function. And for someone to drive across our country carrying an automatic weapon and taking the lives of innocent people, you ask yourself over and over again, what more could we have done? How could we have responded better? And you have a tendency to blame yourself. And I just want to say sorry to this family. I want to say sorry as one parent to another parent. And we must live in the spirit of Officer Islam. and what he stood for and what he would always stand for and what he fought for. And I want to say thank you to the men and women of the New York City Police Department in general, but specifically to the men and women of SRG. They entered the building while the shooter was still alive, and they conducted a floor-by-floor search. They wanted to ensure that everyone in that building would have come out safely, and the men and women of ESU and the men and women who responded and carried out your son out of that building, hoping to give him the medical care that he deserved to save his life. I want to thank those of Rudin Management who did everything possible to create a safe environment, unfortunately, in a system where we are now having to train each other on how not to be the victim of senseless violence. And I want to thank the men and women of the 4-7 precinct. In spite of what happened, they put on a uniform the next day. They carried out their jobs and their obligations and their responsibility to protect the people of this city. And I want to thank New Yorkers, the number of calls and communications that we received to stand in unison with this family and this city as we heal together. And I want to thank you, Governor, the Governor of the state of New York, your leadership during these trying times of making sure our police officers and our families receive the support they need to carry out their job. And to you, Police Commissioner, for what you have served this family, not using the terminology that we are a family, then we abandon each other during times of need, but the services that you have provided for this family during these difficult times is admirable in the spirit of who we stand for as men and women of the New York City Police Department in the city of New York. This is a law enforcement family, a law enforcement family. The cousins are part of the law enforcement community. They believe in public safety. They came here pursuing the American dream, a Bangladesh community that has grown in power and strength. And as the governor stated, he could have gone into any other occupation he wanted. But he wanted to put on that uniform. And he wanted to protect fellow New Yorkers. And he wanted to let us know that he believed in what this city and what this country stood for. That's the greatest symbol of what we know we are as a country. And so as the mayor of the city of New York, yes, I'm angry. I'm angry that a dad has lost his son, that a mother has lost her child. I'm angry that two boys are not going to grow up and be with their father, to go inside the mosque and learn the power of the Quran. I'm angry that a child that's on the way is not going to have the opportunity to let his dad touch his head as he exits the womb. I'm angry that this community has watched one of their own leave our city prematurely. I'm angry that the men and women of the police department are watching a fallen brother who died as a hero defending this city. But in all that anger, I also have hope. I have hope because of who Officer Islam was. I have hope that we still have in our city men and women coming from different walks of life deciding that they want to wear that blue uniform and fight to protect our city from those who wish to harm us. I have hope that if we're in this room together in this mosque, lifting up our hero, then we could enter the mosques, the synagogues, the churches, the Buddhist temples, the Sikh temples, and also cross-pollinate and coordinate on how we can make this city a greater place that a person would not believe violence is an answer to the question. I'm filled with hope and optimism today because of the life of Officer Islam. And I commend mother and father of our officer. They instilled something special in him. Everyone we talked about, they talked about how special he was and what he represented. If we are true practitioners of the faith that we have embraced, then we should see God in each other. We saw God in Officer Islam. And now we must take that God-like energy that he offered to allow us to live out his legacy the way he would want to. Our hearts lift him up in prayer. Our city is with you. And as one parent to another, I will continue to pray for you and your family, his mother, his wife, his children, and his child on the way. And as the Quran states, we come from Allah and we return to Allah. I've learned not to question God. I've learned to respect God. And may God be with you.